Hi everyone, this is Nancy Lynn from Sew Euphoria, and I am working today on my Roxy's journal, hashtag Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. I am still on volume 1. I have finished the May prompt, and I got that one done finally, and now I am working on the June one, which is painted or dyed fabric and a heart. And so this one is going into the journal, but I figured I would take, this one's taken me a while. I had 23 journals that I had to finish and complete before I could go on with this, and they've already started the July volume 2 of Roxy's Journal of Stitchery with Rachel and Sarah. And so I'm behind, but I promised myself I would not start the new one until I finish this in my book. I want to get those done. I don't want to leave them as unfinished projects. So I've got a couple of things to show you. The day before they announced for dye fabric, I am working on some mermaid journals from my nieces, or my great nieces. And I started dyeing some fabric, and I used different types of fabrics, synthetic fabrics. I used some cheesecloth, I've used regular cotton, the muslin, and I used one lace. I tried all the way through it on each one, and I was really surprised at how well the synthetics came out. Now this is Pro Chemical dyes that I used for this, and they all seem to turn out really well. I dipped them in a little cup, mixed up the dye, let them sit there. I did let them sit overnight, and then the next morning I came in and took them out. I didn't do any shibori dyeing. Oh, that was hard to say. So that's what I would like to do next at some point in time, because it's just so beautiful, the marks that it makes. But they did come out pretty well. I was really surprised, especially though this is the cheesecloth, and it came out, I just wadded it up and stuck it in there, and so some places, you know, it gave it more of a tie-dye type of effect. These next, this one, yeah, I didn't get both of them on these. This one is a synthetic curtain material. I was shocked that it took, because a lot of times you're synthetic materials, so it must have, it said all polyester, but I don't, it must have had something in there. And then this was one of the other, this is the piece of regular cotton, and it did get all that nice graduated colors in there. And I did it in different colors. I did it in the blue, the green, then I did it in blue. Like I said, I was doing these the day before they announced what they were doing for, I'm doing these for a mermaid journal. Now this is some curtains that I had purchased at a resale shop, and it's got the little starfish in it. And so we did that. This is that synthetic other curtain material that took it really well. And it came out lighter. This is a piece of cotton, muslin, or calico as some of you guys call it. This is the cheesecloth. So it got really, but it wasn't quite as dark as what I was hoping I'd get. And I did some in purples. And like I said, I'm really surprised the synthetics held as well as what they did. And that's the purples with the lace. So that will be fun. Finishing up the covers for the mermaid internal journals are done. I just need to finish. And I did them one lighter of the orangey colors, and then one darker. Now I did notice that that was as far as the synthetic colors went with the orange. It didn't pick up a whole lot. Some spots it did, but not as much, but they're still pretty. So And so I've sat here and wondered if I was going to use these for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery's The Last Prompt, and I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it. I started late. I started in March with the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, so I'm 2 months behind. I caught up real fast, and then it kind of wavered off while I got those 23 journals done. Actually, I've made 24, 25 of them. And so I've decided that I'm going to hold off on these and use those for their original purpose. And so today I thought I would try some different fabrics. I can always use them with something different. These have all been washed, except for this one here. This one has not been washed. And this one has got a print in the fabric. Real light. I can't, most of the time I look at it and I think it's like an off-white, but it's not. It has a little print, so I thought I might try that one for the background. I've got just plain muslin or calico that I'm going to try. I have this fabric here. Those are different. This one is a muslin also, but it's a little thicker. And then I have this one here. And my prepared for dyeing fabric got mixed up with my other ones. I'm thinking that's what this is. And I didn't wash it separately because if it's prepared for dyeing, it's all ready to go. But I felt like I would try these different ones, and so you guys can see how the different things work. Now what I pulled out is I've got my Arteza watercolors. I have my Inktense pencils. Because this is going into a book and it's not going to be washed or anything like that, I'm not so worried about steadfastness, except for I also pulled out my StazOn ink and my archival ink, because I do want to do some with some stencils for a background, and it depends. If I like it, I won't be putting anything else over it, but if I'm not really liking it, then I will put something else over it. So I wanted something that was going to be permanent so that it wouldn't change. And I've got my little stampers. That one goes with the archival ink. This one goes here. So we're going to do different things. I've got a bunch of stencils over here. Like I have this one that I thought would be a pretty background. You know, to put the hearts over the top, just to have a difference. I need to trim. Nope, there's two separate pieces here. And is that the one? See, I have to look every time. No, this is regular muslin. So we'll start with this. And I'll put these aside. And here's this one. And I'm just going to take a stencil. We're going to do the easiest ones first. I'll take a stencil. I'm going to kind of centerize it because I know a lot of this will go into the hem. And I think I'm going to use some of the StazOn. Right, it might be a little darker than I'm looking for, but maybe not. And I'm just going to daub all over it. Now I'm not hitting everywhere. I'm leaving a few spots of the white up underneath it. And so there's that one. It's pretty. It's perfect. I probably could go with that, put a heart on top of it, call it done for the day. But no. We got to try other stuff. So we've got that one. But that would be a pretty background. I'll put that one aside, let it dry. I'm going to take another one. And I'm going to use same technique with different backgrounds. Now I have these. This stencil came from like the food aisle where you make cakes and cupcakes and stuff, and that's where this one came from. I got it at Michael's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, so I don't know. I don't know what the name of it is, but we're gonna, because the theme is hearts, so I thought it might be pretty to have a background of hearts. Okay, so let's see. And that's pretty. And then we could put some more, but I think I want to stagger it so that it's not the same print. All the way down. And like I said, this is just for the background. These are the Tim Holtz. No, they're not. They're the Ranger Mini Ink Blending Tool Mini Applicator that I'm using, and I'm using the Stays on Ink, and I'll tell you what color it is in a minute. I think I'll do one more row. Kind of offset it a little bit. This might be a winner. Is it winner winner chicken dinner? I'm trying to get it up to where you guys can see it. Now I gotta figure out where I was. Yeah, I think you guys can still see what I'm doing. And that's how easy it is to do this. And this is permanent ink, so I don't have to worry about anything else with this once it's done. And I really like this one. Now this would be pretty with a big heart over the top of it. I think I'm gonna do 2, because I'm doing mine as kind of a memory book from the strong women in my life that have passed before me. And I think I'm gonna use this page for my 2 sister-in-laws, because I need one last page, and I think that might do it. And I'll do half and half. So that might be it. But I also said we were going to try watercolor. And this is a very thin I don't remember where this came from. This is a vintage fabric, I know that. And it's thin. You can really see through it. And I think it's a linen, but it's a real lightweight linen. And I'm going to get set up to do the watercolors, and we'll see how that goes. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. this is going to be the book that I'm using. It's called the Needlework book. I was at the library the other day and I was talking with somebody at the library and was mentioning that I liked old books and that I needed something a pretty good size, and I said I like the yellow pages and all that, and he said, I mean stuff like from the 1920s or later. He said, or you know, just older. And I said, yeah. So he came out and gave me a couple of these books that they were going to throw away because they either have multiple copies or they just don't feel like somebody would buy them. And so this is what I'm going to be using as my journal cover. And I pulled out all the pages out of it. And they're nice thick paper, so I will be using those for other things. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm trying to keep it together until, but I'm just going to cut down the sides, and then I'm going to put, I think it was either Roxy or Sarah that showed how to do the tabs for the binding. Corinne also did some bindings like that, and so I thought that's probably the way that I will go, is with that. These are my sample pages. They're still, I think I'm just going to put those two together as a back-to-back. I still want to work some more on these. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking my pages and I'm writing on the back of them for who the person is that this was dedicated to. And I put a piece of muslin in between, and I've sewn it onto the back, and I've sewn it onto the front of this one. And I'm going to put some lace here and here, just to continue with all the laces that I've got. But then those will be stitched into the binding. Now I'm not sure if I'm just going to strengthen this up, keep this piece and poke the holes through it, but I did tear it, but I could strengthen it with some fabric afterwards, and I'm thinking I might do that. I was going to cut it all out, but I'm just not sure how well the glue is going to hold. Everyone's using glue and it seems like it's holding, but I just don't know. So that's what I'm doing with these, is I'm joining these together. Now this one here, this one is my mom's, and what I've done is I've just cut a strip of fabric, folded it in half, sewn two edges of it together, you know, I sewed these two edges, turned it inside out, and then sewed the last edge together. And now what I'm doing here is I'm just stitching this around to join this, and then once I finish with this one, then I'll turn it and then I will join this one to it. So I'll have one, two, excuse me, I'll have 3 signatures. Now this is the one you guys have not seen, and this is the one that I did for my Aunt Pat. This was favorite color in a bird was the prompts for this one, and I knew I wanted to do this one for my Aunt Pat, so I went with yellow because she loved yellow, and I had this old vintage cross stitch piece that I added on here. Now, we're from Rhode Island originally, and she has always born and raised and died in Rhode Island. So I figured I'd put some reminders of Rhode Island on here. And the bird I chose was a rooster. Now, I have not done anything with him. I chose to do a lot of stitching all around. I'm still working on this piece. I put hope here because hope is the motto for Rhode Island. And then the picture of my aunt, and I think it's hard to see on here. She's holding a quilt that I had made for her. She was my godmother and my father's sister. And I've used a little bit of yo-yos and some buttons on the top of those. I've started doing some stitching around here. I've done some cross stitching, which I think I'm going to continue up on the top up here. Around her picture, I did some chain stitching, I did some bullion stitches, and then some French knots all the way around. I've added lace to 3 of the sides so far. Oh, and here I did, it had a little bit of blue stitching here, and it was very tiny, and I've not seen the stitch before, and I'm gonna have to practice it because it was really pretty. But I wanted something a little bolder, so I decided to do a buttonhole stitch all the way around, and I went over. You can maybe still see the little stitches that they had done. Let's see if I can get it right next to it. There's some little stitches. I didn't take those out, I just went over the top of them. Here I did some, I call it rice stitching, chicken scratch. There's all kinds of names for it, but it's just kind of a going in and out in a random position. But that's the one for her. And then we're working on the page today, and that one piece has not dried yet, so I am waiting for it to dry, but I don't think I'll use that. I may cut the hearts out, but I think the one I'm using for this last one is going to be, I think this was the winner. I think this is the one that I'm gonna go for with this. So, and I've got some other little things put in here. I've got some pictures of my sister-in-laws, which they didn't come out really well. My printer is acting up. And this is a cotton sheet that has been ironed onto thing to run through your printer. But I've got to work on making some more of these because I'm not happy with those pictures. But I'm trying to keep all of this together. So I don't know. Have you guys tried it yet? Did you keep this? Because I mean, with my crocodile, I could go through that and I could keep all that together, but I don't know that that is something that I really want to do. Well, no, I can't do that because I'm going to have to make it bigger because it's got a lot of stress on it because of the thickness, and I still have more to add in here. So that was the other reason why. No, I can't keep it. So I'll cut this out and I will go with the tabs. But this says needlework book here, and so I may make, I think it was Sarah that did like a band that went all the way around to hold it all together and did needlework on it, and I think that is probably what I will try to do on this, is to do that. I may add some lace around it, but I think I'm going to keep this part of it here. So I will keep you guys updated. I'm really excited to get going on the volume 2, which is either Christmas or winter. So we'll see, but I'm going to finish this first. I have got to finish it. I cannot leave another project part way done. So I'm behind. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I will come back with another video once I start and decide what I'm going to do with this piece here. Like I said, I'm thinking I might use half and half for my 2 sister-in-laws because that would keep it to one more, but I do have two or three other ladies that I'd really like to keep and put in here, so it may not. We'll see. And I think this other one that's still drying. Now, I did get a little bit of bleed on one of them. I don't know, but I did color it a lot heavier, so I'm not sure if that's why or whatever, but you can see the background is kind of brown, and I do kind of like this one too, so I may use this one. All those marks are actually not really in there. They are from behind on the board that I used. But once this dries, we'll see if that will work. We'll see. I'm still not decided. I really think I'm going with this one here, and I may cut some of these out somehow for hearts to put onto here. I will let you guys know as we're going through this. So little by little, but this is the last one, and then I have my title page and then putting the book together. But I'm getting there because I'm already starting to make my signatures, and I may put them in here and leave one open so that if I decide to add somebody else in here, I can easily do that. And I'm sure with this, where is it at? The way this is, if I needed to, I could always put something in here, you know, added to either side of it to make another page. So there are ways to do it, and that's why I think I'm going to go with a bigger binding, just to make sure that if I want to, I can add more to this. But have a great day. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful day. It's not sunny here today in Florida. It's raining, but it's keeping it cooler, which is much more comfortable. And so, and this is the other, oh, I didn't show you this one. This is the other one when it dried. And this one wouldn't be bad for, you know, for a background. So we'll see. Take care. If you like this, please click the like button. If you would like to see more videos and follow along with this, please subscribe. This is Nancy Lynn, wishing you a blessed day. Bye.